You know that feeling, right? Where you're just going through the motions, day in and day out, but you're not really going anywhere. It's like you're caught in this invisible loop. You know you want something more, something different, but you just can't seem to break the cycle. Well, if any of that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to explore why we get stuck and, way more importantly, the practical steps to finally break free.
What a powerful metaphor, isn't it? This idea of walking down a street and just repeatedly falling into the same exact hole, it just perfectly captures that feeling of frustrating repetition. I mean, you know the hole is there. You can probably even see it coming, but somehow you end up right back at the bottom, looking up and thinking, how did I get here again?
So, this actually comes from this amazing little poem that perfectly lays out the whole journey of getting unstuck. In this early phase, it's all about shock and disbelief, and this feeling that you're just a victim of your circumstances. It isn't my fault. That's the key phrase right there. And that feeling of powerlessness, I think we've all been there. Okay, so what does this stuck feeling actually look and feel like in our everyday lives? It's not always some big, dramatic event. More often, it's this quiet, creeping sense of stagnation. Let's break down some of the real ways people describe it.
You know, what's really interesting here is that these descriptions actually come from research interviews with people in a big organization. They're so visceral, right? Terminal boredom, wow. Or feeling totally constipated, like creatively or in your career. But my personal favorite has to be busy doing nothing. It just hits the nail on the head for that modern feeling of being constantly occupied but making zero actual progress. It's like being on a hamster wheel.
So this brings us to a really crucial turning point. That feeling of, hey, this isn't my fault, isn't just an excuse. It's actually rooted in a very real psychological phenomenon. And understanding this, well, that's the first real step toward breaking free. And here it is. Learned helplessness. The term itself is just so powerful. The whole idea is that after repeated negative experiences where we feel like we have no control, our brain literally learns to be helpless. It decides that trying is pointless, so we just stop trying, even in situations where we actually do have the power to change things. Now, this is so important to get. This isn't a character flaw. It is not about being lazy or unmotivated. It's a deeply wired belief system. Your brain has basically decided that the power to fix things is external. It's up to your boss, the economy, your partner, somebody else. And as long as you believe that, you're going to stay stuck. So how does our brain keep us in this state of learned helplessness? Well, it uses a series of mental shortcuts, or filters. Now, most of the time these filters are super helpful, but when we're stuck, they start to work against us, constantly reinforcing that belief that we're powerless.
Let's check back in with that poem. Do you see the shift here? It's a habit, but my eyes are open. This is the moment of awareness, that light bulb moment. The blame shifts from the outside world to recognizing your own role in the pattern. It is my fault. Now, this isn't about beating yourself up. It's about reclaiming your power. It's that realization that if you have a role in the problem, you also have a role in the solution.
Okay, so let's dive into this model. It comes from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, which is all about how our thoughts, language, and behavior are connected. And it shows us the three main ways our brain filters reality to make it manageable. But here's the catch. These same filters, deletion, distortion, and generalization, are the very things that keep us trapped when we feel helpless. So the first trap is deletion. Basically, your brain acts like a bouncer for your beliefs. It only lets in information that confirms what you already think is true. So when you believe nothing ever works out for me, your brain will actively delete any evidence that proves you wrong. Your boss gives you a compliment, you just delete it. Oh, she's just being nice. You make a small step forward on a goal, you delete it. That doesn't even count. It's too small. You're literally blind to your own progress. The second trap is distortion. Now, this isn't about ignoring reality. It's about twisting it to fit your negative story. You make one tiny mistake in a presentation and your brain distorts that into the entire thing was a total disaster. Or you achieve something really great, but you diminish it by saying, anyone could have done that. We become absolute masters at turning gold into lead. And the final trap? Generalization. This one might be the most dangerous. This is where you fail at one thing and you generalize it to mean I'm a failure at everything. You have one bad relationship and you generalize it to I'm just unlovable. You're taking a single data point and writing a universal law about who you are. So we've seen the problem, we've got learned helplessness, and it's being reinforced by these three mental traps. I know it sounds a little bleak, right? But it's not. Here's the good news. If our brain can learn to be helpless, that means it can also unlearn it. The key isn't to fight these filters head on, but to short circuit the entire process. Let's look at how. The key is something called a pattern interrupt. The feeling of being stuck is a pattern. It's a habit loop. A pattern interrupt is anything you do deliberately to break that loop. It doesn't have to be a big thing, it just has to be different. It's a way of snapping yourself out of that autopilot mode that keeps you walking toward the same old hole. And here's a simple 3-step way to do it. Step 1 is just to notice. Become aware. Oh, there I am again, scrolling on my phone when I said I would work. That's it, just notice. Step 2 is to change your state, and I mean physically. Get up, walk around, put on an upbeat song, do 5 jumping jacks, anything to change your physiology. And step 3 is to take one tiny new action. Don't try to solve your whole life. Just send that one email, write one sentence. Just put on your running shoes, that's it. Let's go back to the poem one last time. This is exactly what a pattern interrupt looks like in action. You see the hole, you take responsibility for your part, and you get out immediately. You don't just sit at the bottom wondering how it all happened. You use your awareness to take immediate, decisive action to change your state and your situation. And this brings us to the final, and I think the most hopeful part of this whole journey. Because getting unstuck isn't just about escaping a bad situation. It's about creating a completely new one. And here is maybe the most important shift in thinking of all. The ultimate goal isn't to become an expert at climbing out of the hole. It's to stop walking down that street in the first place. Real, lasting change comes from consciously choosing to create new patterns, new habits, and totally new roads for yourself. And here it is, the final line of the poem. It's so simple, but it is so profound. I walk down another street. There's no drama, there's no struggle. It's just a choice to leave the old path behind and forge a new one. This, right here, is the definition of freedom. So, this is the question this whole thing has been leading to. It's a question about your own power. The past doesn't have to define your future. The old holes don't have to be your destination. You have the power to notice the pattern, to interrupt it, and to choose a different path. So take a moment and ask yourself, what new street will you choose to walk down today?